Well, hi everyone. I'm Joe Retlin. This is a real honest rant about current wrestling commentary. Some of it is great, and some of it is JR's commentary. JR is one of the best wrestling commentators of all time. There is no doubt about that. And I'm going to start off this show hot, but God, JR is fucking rotten in AEW. He was rotten in New Japan when he was doing American commentary, and he's rotten in AEW. He can call occasional matches like Cody and Dustin. He did well there. Cody and Archer. He was fine there. There are times where he actually can be useful. He's not useful for about 90% of the show because he just isn't good with any modern wrestling. And I have my issues with modern wrestling. There are certain gimmicks in AEW I don't like. There are certain gimmicks in other companies that I don't like and I simply don't get. And gimmick matches and stuff like that. The whole cinematic wrestling thing. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily in touch with everything. Sure, some can call me out of touch. But here's one thing I do know. JR should not be calling any of the AEW women's matches because fucking Christ, Chris Statlander and Nyla Rose, yes, are two women that are bigger than the other women. Not that you would need to, know that by sight, because you could just listen to JR say it about 50 million motherfucking times like he did at Double or Nothing. He is one of the greatest. But fucking Christ, Tony Khan paid him a shit full of money for his reputation. He sure as fuck isn't paying him for his work, because his work is bloody fucking rotten. Excalibur, okay, he is kind of the Mauro Ronaldo, so to speak, of being the over-the-top personality. Mauro obviously is a better commentator. I'll get to him here in a bit. But Excalibur at least has some good energy. Is he still trying to get used to calling wrestling on this kind of a scale? Yes. But I'll take Excalibur over JR. And I know JR has health issues, no doubt. I feel for him there. I feel for the fact he's been through a lot. He lost his wife. He has been through a lot of tragic stuff. More than anybody should have to be. And yes, he is somebody that deserves respect for what he has done. But that's in the past. You can leave people in the past. He can do his podcast. He can do the occasional shows. He can do the occasional big match or something like that. But why are you putting him out there with every single match when he doesn't give a flying goddamn motherfuck about anything? He doesn't. JR isn't helping the AEW product more often than not. If anything, he's being fucking problematic. Now, the stuff about Nyla and Chris Statlander. Yeah, they're taller women. They're bigger women. We know that. We can see that. We have eyes. You don't need to describe that, JR. You really don't need to. You also don't need to, the Jungle Jack Perry thing I, was down on at first, but you know what, for Jungle Boy, it actually fits. But there are so many times, like, you watch him call some of these matches, like, these flip-de-doo-dah matches, which I'm 50-50 when it comes to flippy shit, but you know what, it's what modern wrestling is. I like some of it, I don't like some of it. And JR just seems to tune out. He almost seems like grumbling, like the old man yells at cloud whenever he's got to call some of this stuff. Now, does he know more about wrestling? Has he forgotten more about wrestling, that is, than I'll ever know? Abso-goddamn-lutely. But as a fan, I'm not enjoying what he's providing. I would argue that his work has basically sucked for a while. 10% good, 90% bad, and maybe JR should say, hey, I'm not turn down the money. It's his career, it's his life. If he has earned the right to get the money to be paid for his work, but his work needs to be up to snuff. He needs to at least try to have some energy, try to have something and add something to these shows, because often it's Excalibur and especially Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone's had a goddamn career resurgence. Tony Schiavone's been fucking tremendous in AEW, and I was critical of his stuff in WCW, but I'm so glad that I've gone back and watched some WCW 2000 for one reason. One, it's made me appreciate that Scott Hudson was quite good on commentary, and also Tony Schiavone having to call that bullshit and just say, I don't know what I'm calling anymore. Schiavone was the voice of WCW for a number of goddamn years. And I think had one of the best calls in wrestling, at least in Royal Rumble history, when Hogan and Warrior faced off. There was not a person sitting down. But he called so many iconic WCW moments, and even some of the worst moments, he tried to add some credibility and do stuff to the best of his ability. Him and Chris Jericho, when they did all that tape stuff. Jericho and Shivani were fucking tremendous on commentary. Shivani was cracking up. Shivani's having the time of his life. He is having a goddamn blast, and he's having so much fun there, and you can tell he's also lending his credibility and the fact that he does know about wrestling. Sure, maybe he hasn't watched a ton of modern wrestling, but he's catching up with it, and he's doing some really good shit. So no, he doesn't need to be the lead guy, but at this point, you might almost want to have it be Shivani, Taz, and Excalibur, because Taz and Excalibur have done pretty good on Dark, and they actually got some pretty good chemistry, despite the fact that Taz's grasp of the English language is as thick as his neck and as long as his neck, meaning not long at all, but Taz actually can lend the credibility of knowing that he was in the ring and actually does know some moves. He just doesn't make a whole lot of goddamn sense, and it's like, I don't know, his words are all caught in the yam bag or something. Kick them out of the yam bag. He said yam bag a lot. Yam bag is a prevalent theme here. Back to Excalibur. Excalibur, pretty good, and does have respect for wrestling. He really does. I mean, listen to what he said about Shad Gaspard and Hana Kimura. He really did have, some great words there and was almost tearing up because you could tell how much, that meant, those two meant to him. And that is something I can definitely respect. Does he sometimes go a little crazy with some of the move stuff? Yes. But he does have some good catchphrases, and I actually like Excalibur. At times, maybe he gets a little overboard, but honestly, I really love him. I love Shivani. I like Taz. And JR, I respect as far as his career and everything that he's gone through and all the shit. But JR fucking sucks now. He's fucking rotten. Just use him less, please. Tony, stop bleeding money and wasting it on guys like JR. Go get somebody like, I don't know, Ian Riccaboni. He's working for Ring of Honor, but you know what? Ian Riccaboni could do pretty well. Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman have done pretty well on commentary. I don't keep up on enough of Ring of Honor, but I liked what Ian Riccaboni did at G1 Supercard. He is really goddamn good. I'm going to get into more of the positive stuff now, but he could be good for AEW. He has a boisterous personality, and he does have a lot of enthusiasm, but you know what? He can call that stuff. He is able to meld, plug in shows and everything, and calling the moves. He understands that stuff, and he has some youth on his side. And I'm not trying to go ageist here, but eventually people do age out, and JR aged out about 10 motherfucking bloody years ago. He really did. He deserves respect, but it's time to go. It's time to do some other things where you're not wasting the son of a billionaire's money living off your reputation alone. But Ian Riccaboni's good. I like Caprice Coleman. I think he's also quite good. Let's get to this. I don't want to focus too much on Ring of Honor, so let's focus on good commentary. So let's first talk about Don Callis and Josh Matthews on commentary. Don Callis is one of the worst American commentators, well, Canadian, but one of the worst, U.S. commentators that they have, or at least for a U.S. program. And Josh Matthews is fucking bloody rotten because he doesn't care about wrestling. He's a goddamn little bitch and everything. And Don Callis isn't really all that good either. And thanks, Callis, for bringing in Michael Elgin. We all know about Michael Elgin. Great job bringing that piece of work into Impact. That's going to help the image. But Callis and Josh Matthews just aren't very good. What limited bit I've heard, I just don't care for them. I mean, honestly, like really, why in the world would you want to pay Josh Matthews to be your commentator? You're not just scraping the bottom of the barrel. You're fucking trying to, wring the the slime out of the woods of the barrel just to get that, or maybe even the woods out of the trees that are in the woods and stuff. Like, I don't know what I'm fucking saying anymore because Josh Matthews just angers me that much. He is basically this generation's Mark Madden. I take that back though because Josh Matthews at least served a purpose at one point and was actually pretty good as a backstage commentator. Now he's just become a little bitch. But anyway, no, he's pond scum. That's what he is. Josh Matthews is pond scum. So let's get to the good stuff. One, NWA, Joe Galli. Love Joe Galli. He is very, professional, great sportscaster voice and everything. He is a newscaster. Stu Bennett, lending credibility as far as a wrestler and just has that great voice to him. He obviously isn't wrestling anymore. I think he is retired from the ring, but him and Joe Galli are great on commentary. As much as I did like Galli and Cornette, Galli and Stu Bennett are just that much better. It melds the sports feel with the modern age and stuff like that. While Cornette did lend some history there, let's be honest, wasn't going to last all that long. Joke or not, Galli and Stu Bennett are quite good. So let's go to what I really don't like, and that's WWE commentary. Because I'm going to finish up on some positives here. Okay, Mauro Ranallo and Samoa Joe are quite good. Mauro, yes, does go over the top. I agree there. And there are times where I'm like, okay, Mauro, dial it back a bit, but that's just him. That's just the passion he has. Beth is at best okay. She does know what it's like to be in a wrestling ring and was very, very good and still is very good. I'm sure still could be good if she wanted to get back in the ring. Her and Natalya could team up and maybe win the tag team championships, the women's tag team championships, if they're still even going on, in about a goddamn month because they're on, Bliss Cross Applesauce. But they aren't on the Iconics because they're teasing that breakup. But you know what? Let's get back to the commentary. Beth, at times she actually does some good stuff, but overall she's just kind of okay. Byron isn't bad. Byron did have a good call at when Mania 35 when Kofi Kingston got the won the WWE Championship. Still one of the loudest pops I've heard in an open air stadium, and he really did have some good calls. And he had good calls there, and he has actually had good calls in the past. Is he often just a caricature? Yes. But sometimes Byron is not all that bad. Tom Phillips, I don't mind when he's not face fucking the hell out of every goddamn line. Hey, but if he had to work with Jerry Lawler, let's keep Jerry Lawler in the past. In the 80s, when he was last fucking relevant and last worth any goddamn thing. Let's just keep Jerry Lawler off of commentary. We don't need him to travel. I don't care when this whole thing's over. Just keep him home. Just keep him home. Don't have him on commentary. Because he ain't any goddamn good. Whether his comments are just, in the past or whether they're flat out racist or whether they're somewhere in between. He doesn't need to be there anymore. But Samoa Joe's very good on commentary. I honestly think that they probably should just keep him on commentary and just not have him wrestle anymore. Because he's, 40, 41? And he's had a lot of injuries. Maybe him doing commentary. I mean, him lending credibility to Drew McIntyre's, Glasgow kiss, just a headbutt. Give us a kiss. That's some really good stuff. He is a natural at it. Kevin Owens also going to be a natural at commentary when he decides to hang up his boots a number of years from now. But the Raw commentary team, that's it right there. NXT, I already mentioned them. 205 Live. I don't even know who calls 205 Live anymore. I haven't paid attention to 205 Live in months. And then NXT UK, it's Nigel McGuinness and somebody. I don't know who the other guy is. I haven't paid much attention to NXT UK, though I like quite a few of the talents. I only have so many hours in a day, guys, and I review four wrestling promotions. Well, I review New Japan when I want to review retro stuff, because so far they're not having any live shows. I wish for nothing but the best for every single wrestling promotion and them to only run shows when they feel. But by God, I don't know about you, I miss some wrestling. Back to the commentary. Let's talk about New Japan. Because WWE, we could talk about Michael Cole, who sucks. He may be the voice of a generation, brain dead generation. I'm sorry. I think that Cole has some ability to be good. That just got left in the goddamn past. And Corey Graves jumped the shark a while ago and now is barely even tolerable as a human being. He definitely isn't somebody that should be giving relationship advice, except for what not to do in a relationship. Him and Carmella are starting a relationship-based podcast. How quaint, how adorable. Is it going to be how you cheat on a significant other and hide it for so long until they find out and post it over social media? Probably. Let's get to the positives. New Japan commentary. Kevin Kelly. I'm not going to talk about the Japanese commentary, even though Milano Collection AT and the others that are on there, I'm sorry, I don't remember their names. I do apologize for that. They are good. I love the Japanese commentary enthusiasm. So, let's talk about Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly is the best play-by-play caller in wrestling today, in my personal opinion. He can make everything seem big. He is able to do the Destino stuff, Rainmaker, all that, hold that stuff out. He's able to do that and have the long wind. And he was great in WWE. He's great in Ring of Honor. Now he's great here. Now he's great in New Japan. Here, like I'm anywhere near New Japan. But he is great. So is Chris Charlton. So is Rocky Romero. Wrestler and part-time commentator. They are the best trio in wrestling. The best commentary trio in wrestling, period. Bar none, nobody beats them. Not even Shivani, not even if it was Shivani, Taz, and Excalibur. Not even Shivani and Jericho are as good as those three. As good as Jericho is, great as Jericho is on commentary, as great as Shivani is. Much fun to say. Kevin Kelly, Chris Charlton, Rocky Romero. Yes, they're essentially three baby faces, but Chris Charlton can actually throw some snide stuff in there because he's very British and also he's very, very knowledgeable of Japanese wrestling in general. He studies the stuff. He's so goddamn good, and he can be snide. He can be a little bit of a jackass, but he's too good not to root for. and he's so goddamn knowledgeable and a great follow on Twitter. But those three are great. Gino Gambino, he's fine. He is, when he's not going over the top as far as being a heel commentary, he's actually pretty good, and he is a likable guy. And he does lend some good stuff to some matches. There are times where I'm like, okay, Gino, dial it down a bit. As a fan, maybe it's a bit too much, but you know what? The company's happy, and he's happy, and his colleagues are happy. That's really all we can hope for. But in all honesty, when it comes to current commentary, New Japan, in my opinion, has the best English commentary, bar none. And I mean, Japanese commentary is good also. It's a tie between AEW and NWA. I give a slight to Joe Galley and Stu Bennett, lending the credibility of like a sports-based feel there. But then you have AEW, who does have Shivani and Excalibur. The problem is also counteracted. Taz is kind of neutral. It does have JR, who has a bunch of history, but JR just isn't fucking good anymore. He's fucking rotten. He's really fucking rotten. Once again, if you don't want to call the women's matches, Jim, just fucking say you don't want to call the women's matches. Go thirsting on Twitter. He definitely does that. Boy, does he love doing that. Man, I don't want to know what's under that cowboy hat. I don't think you want to know where that cowboy hat's been. Probably on Sonny's OnlyFans. He's plugged that. I am disgusted. I now no longer have an appetite. Probably won't have an appetite for about 5 minutes until I decide to eat something. So, in all honesty, current commentary, great commentary can add so much to a match and make it great, add so much to the show. Bad commentary can take away. Awful commentary is JR's, and putrid commentary is whatever Impact has. That's not to say that Impact doesn't have some pretty good talents, but yeah, I hate Don Callis and Josh Matthews, and I'm just going to stick by that. But yeah, I think I've buried enough, or I've buried enough people with my words and everything, and been mean enough. I stand by everything I said. Shivani and Excalibur, Morrow, Joe, and the New Japan commentary team are pretty great, and so is NWA. But JR, just fucking stop. Either start having some energy, or just fucking stop. And if people want to get mad at me, that's fine. I'm not saying you guys can't be fans of him. And I've tried having some leniency and having some sympathy. And I still have sympathy for the guy. But if he's dragging down the goddamn show, I gotta call it out. I can't just call out WWE for having their commentary drag down a show. JR's has really not added much. It's time for him to go. Whenever his contract's up, just Tony, spend it on somebody better. I'm sorry. JR deserves respect, but he doesn't deserve a pity job. He doesn't deserve a job just for his reputation alone. It's time for him to go. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.